With all the excitement in the crypto space and the stock market, I'm hoping you Bitcoin Cash holders haven't gotten disillusioned, because Bitcoin Cash is also rallying along with the rest of the crypto space, and it's finally breaking through some key resistances. So if you bought the dip seemingly ages ago, back in early March, you're probably looking pretty good right now, because we are well past that point. You're very likely in the black if you bought at that time. This is the 30-minute chart, linear chart, close-up view of Bitcoin Cash. And the pattern looks very similar to many of the other altcoins, as well as Bitcoin and Ethereum, in that we had our initial 5-wave rally, which I re-identified as having topped on February 28th. So this looks like maybe a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And fortunately, we did not invalidate that initial impulse, the bullish impulse, namesake of this channel, because technically you don't invalidate an impulse unless you break down below the origin point of the impulse. So with that being said, this orange notation is our current primary pattern in the short term, and we've done nothing to invalidate that. As a matter of fact, we actually have a nested 1-2 as well, which is what you see right here. So that could be a 1-2, and you would expect your third wave to get to the 1.32 extension of this, and we absolutely did that. As a matter of fact, we've gone all the way to the, well, past the 1.764 extension. So this looks like a completed impulse, and therefore we very likely have our third wave in place, at least on this degree. So I'm going to add that label there to make that clear. There we go. Had that a little hesitate there. And this is actually the 1.382 extension of this impulse here. So this Fibonacci sequence tool right here tells us that this is the one. We had a very deep retrace for wave 2, yet we hit the 1.32 extension almost on the dot at about $385. Actually exceeded slightly, and you want your third wave to get somewhere within that region. With this sharp pullback, this is looking like a classic fourth wave correction. Fourth waves are generally pretty shallow and time consuming. And well, we've been in this consolidation for a couple of days now, as have many other cryptos. So I'm calling this a fourth wave right now. And this is basically the break point, the testing point. This is where we're testing to make sure that this is not an A, B, C up, because this could still count as a C wave up with a nasty crash to come. So this is the final test. That test is that we will have our higher high get us past $417, because that is where the 1.764 extension is. So if we get there, if we can cleanly get to that point, get that higher high, and then finally have a corrective pullback, then we are golden. That means that we have more or less invalidated a downside setup. So in other words, we have what could be an ABC up. That would be a bull trap, dead cat bounce, whatever you want to call it. If we break down here, that means we're going directly below. Otherwise, if we hold up and have a higher high, we have an even larger 5-wave impulse up, and it would fit the Fibonacci proportions almost perfectly. So that would be very good news. And on the big picture, you can clearly see this rally has materialized. This is the 4-hour chart logarithmic view, which is provided in the description below. So check it out at the link there. We narrowly missed hitting our blue box. That would be the ideal retracement point for this larger correction off of our May 2021 high. And we had what we're calling A wave down, B wave rally. That was the rally in the fall. And we've had a very clean ending diagonal kind of C wave to finish this. You got a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Lots of overlap. It falls within a trend channel line. And well, there's a lot of signs that we're done. Number one thing is that if I scroll back a little bit left, when you look at this MACD over here, that MACD, we've had divergences. This is way more apparent in Bitcoin Cash than most of the cryptos, where you can see as we went lower and lower, we had our MACD stretch less and less to the downside. So we have that clear divergence that is easily visualizable with this line here. So that's a very good sign. And we've had a bit of a double bottom. So if nothing else, this could be the actual fifth wave down, or maybe it's a fifth truncated fifth wave, whatever it is. It actually could be an impulse down, but we couldn't break below the support, and it doesn't look like we will. So that's good. That makes it very likely that our major pullback is over and we're off to the races. This is the setup so far. So when we look at this here, remember, double bottoms are ambiguous for a reason. And that's because we don't know which of these spike downs was the actual bottom. I'm sure there are a few pennies, maybe a few dollars apart, but they're very close. And if we take a closer look on our shorter term chart, I believe we had our bottom here at, well, you can actually see even on the short term chart, it's very hard to distinguish where the actual low is. It's almost a perfect retrace, perfect double bottom. So this could be a 1-2 to start the next leg up, or it could be a 4-5 with this being the next one. either way, this is looking pretty clean. Most of the cryptos did not have actually, a lot of the cryptos had a lower low here, and other ones like Bitcoin, Ethereum, there's another one or two off the top of my head that I can't remember off the top of my head. They didn't get the lower low. So either way, this is paving the way for something better, and this is a great way to start the rally up to this box. This is exactly what you want to see if you want to put the memories of this crash behind us. Now, I've switched up a few things. The green is the primary because we didn't make them that red. We didn't make the lower low. That's what the red pattern is. That doesn't mean we're out of the woods. Remember, we still have only 3 waves up. This could easily be an A, B, C pattern, and we could steer back down for one final spike down, which would not be shocking at all because in ending diagonals, I always talk about us having to see a spike down, what we call a throw over. But if we're done with that, we have broken back up through the trend line. I know a lot of other technical analysts on YouTube are pointing out that we've broken through the upper trend line. A lot of cryptos in Elliott wave theory that we don't follow trend lines much, but this is a classic sign of a reversal off an ending diagonal. And typically reversals are very sharp after an ending diagonal ends, and therefore we are just taking off right now. So bigger picture, we are looking for a rally into this box, and this is derived from, well, basically fitting things together in the bigger picture. So I'm going to stretch up to an even longer term view just as a refresher, but I do have this entire rally identified as a diagonal. So you got a 1, 2, 3, 4, and presumably we're going to finish our final fifth wave up as a zigzag, because that is what you see in a diagonal pattern. Each of the subwaves takes 3-wave form. Even this third wave here from the everything crash 2020 to the peak in May of 2021, it's could be an impulse. It may not be. It's a bit ambiguous. And, you know, I've taken some fibs just to get an idea. Sometimes you see fractal copies in Elliott wave structures. You see the same ratios, proportions repeated. So if I take this first wave as an example, right here, what I'm doing is I'm looking at this as an A and a B. Our top is about the 1.32 extension. So based on that, if we assume that we're going to see the same action here, well, that's where I got this pink projection from, in which we rally into this box somewhere between 835 or so, maybe up to 125, something like that. And we would have a sharp retrace, 61.8% retrace, which is what we saw back there. And if we extend to the 1.32 extension, that puts around 4,075. And that does align with where the top of a diagonal should fall based on the original 1-2. You'd expect to land somewhere near the 1.764 extension. So therefore, to get the confluence to work out, this is where I get my A wave target from. And again, it should be an A, B, C. So it'll look like a fake out. It won't look impulsive. You're not going to have the 5-wave structure most likely, but that is not something to be concerned about because we are actually getting impulsive looks in other cryptos. What does that mean in this picture? Well, I have the same box drawn out right here. So expect a rally into here. It could be a 5-wave impulse. It could just be a big 3-wave zigzag up into that box, simply because A waves, contrary to what you may read in a lot of Elliott wave textbooks, A waves are actually quite frequently 3-wave patterns. I know in the standard Elliott wave text, they talk about A waves more commonly being 5 waves. They can be, but in my own experience, they are almost always, at least in the large degree, 3-wave patterns. B waves are sometimes impulsive, believe it or not. They have 5-wave structures, which we can always interpret as ABCs as well. So that's what I'm expecting to see in Bitcoin Cash over the next few weeks to months. Timeline is a little tricky. We'll look back at that in just a second. Expect a sharp retrace once we get to that point. So this B wave may be relatively sharp. Expect a pretty deep, maybe a 61.8% retrace. Sometimes you see symmetry. So you might see an A, B, C. You might have this B wave inner overlap with the A wave top here, whatever it is. So either way, expect another buying opportunity if you're looking to top off your positions in Bitcoin Cash. And then we are off. So again, I just muted myself there for a second. Big picture pattern shows that our ultimate top would be at about 4,075, something like that. And our timeline, because this is in diagonal form, we could make a rough projection of where we'll end up. So if we draw these channel trend lines, I got a channel trend line going through the 1 and the 3 peaks, the first and the third wave peaks. And if we intersect it with about where the 1.764 extension lies, about $4,200 or so, that puts us in, well, it's putting us in the end of this year. Oh, I'm sorry, that's the accelerated trend line. Actually, that is what's showing. So it's showing November of 2022. That sounds a little optimistic to me, but I can't rule it out. That is what the analysis shows. We have a more decelerated trend line as well that goes to the third wave. So the later date target would have this happening somewhere probably in 2024. I have to put this in weekly view to show it. So point is, you don't expect the top until the end of this year at the earliest. In the meantime, we may see some great rallying into the spring and summer. As a matter of fact, we're already in the spring. Meteorologically speaking, we're past the equinox. So should be a fun spring coming up here. Nice rally, and we should have a nice blow off to finish this off after diagonal ends. Look for everything to crash, but that would be a healthy, larger wave 2 correction, which would probably align with where the bottom of the fourth wave is. So we're just about where we are right now. Expect to be there again, maybe in 2023 or 2024, which would likely be the well, it would mark the start of a new, much more powerful rally further up. So very exciting news in Bitcoin Cash. I'm gonna have plenty more videos, updates coming up. Don't forget to subscribe so that you don't miss those. And if you enjoyed my video, give me a like. Until next time, thank you for watching and happy trading.